What's up, everybody? Welcome to Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast. If you like video games, Steam sale is going on right now.
Ooh,
If you
is it
haven't
really?
already, yeah, for real. It's the Steam summer sale, buddy.
I know what
Up
I'm
to
doing during this
80%
show.
off select titles.
Our sponsor is Steam.
Yeah, no, our sponsor is Johnson Plastics Plus. They don't sell video games. They sell laser engraving blanks and sometimes equipment, depending on what you're looking for. If you want to check out all of the wares that they have available, there's a link down in the description. Help support the channel and the show so that you can continue to come back week after week to watch the Laser Source podcast. It's here thanks to Johnson Plastics Plus. They make a very generous monthly contribution to make sure that the show continues going on. So if you enjoyed that, there is a link down in the description. Again, help support the channel. And it helps them out. They're a really good company, guys. I've been using them since before the channel even started. I think I started buying stuff from them in like 2018, 2017. So I've been a really long-term customer. And I think you guys should go give them a visit. So thank you to Johnson Plastics Plus for sponsoring this episode. For real, if you haven't, go check out the Steam sale too, because there's some really good deals right now. I bought some sick games.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, check out Elisa. Do you like like Resident Evil style, like old school PS1, like tank control? No, you don't like that stuff. Well, then don't check out Elisa. You don't play scary games at all.
I don't like scary games. Like I don't like to be scared. I'm a lady.
I'm aware of that. Also,
I'm dined by my video games.
If you haven't noticed, Kyle and Matter here as usual, but there is a face that's been missing for quite a while. Like 7 weeks. And he's back. It's Anthony. What's up, man?
Hi. It's good to be here, man. I really missed the Thursday evening hangs.
Yeah, dude.
A lot of changes.
Close.
Did I say Thursday?
You did.
That's how long it's been. Tuesday.
I fucking know, dude.
He's been drinking for 7 weeks straight.
Who is this, Boyce?
5 peaches in.
Jesus.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I love the podcast. Is it Thursday? Is it Friday night yet?
Oh so what's up, dude? I feel like we need at least like a little bit of a story, like where you been, what you've been doing, how things going.
Well, I mean, without divulging too many intimate details, I had some changes in my family life.
If you guys want intimate details, hit up Anthony's OnlyFans. There's a link down in the description.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just trying to plug your shit.
Lots of feet pics.
Continue.
That's the name of the OnlyFans channel.
My one of my kids was, we'll say, underperforming, and we pulled him out of school and started doing homeschool. So with my wife working evenings during the second half and the weekend, it was really put on me to go ahead and have to dedicate a lot of time to making sure he was getting his studies done just to wrap up the school year. So I ended up having to make a tough decision, and I moved out of the shop that I had been in for a year and a half.
Oh, no.
Just so that, well, because I was making it, but it was a lot of work. And, a lot of going out, trying to get business and then trying to maximize the business and, all that. And it was just like the amount of time that I was going to have to dedicate toward my new family arrangement, making sure that my kid is getting the attention and the guidance and everything that he needs. It was something
something had to give under the weight, and it wasn't going to be your kid. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Like, because I spent a lot of years, man, like pouring everything I have into like work and neglecting the family. I'll be honest, and I was making really good money doing it, but there was just that thing missing. And the whole point behind us moving to Iowa and all the stuff that we've done in the last 5 years was just making sure everything's family centric. And so
you moved to Iowa. Wait, hold up, rewind. Where did you move to Iowa from?
California. I was living in NorCal.
Imagine. Yeah. Iowa. What a choice.
I mean, it's the Midwest. I went to high school in Wisconsin, and it was just.
I'm just giving you a hard time, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a tough choice, but it was one I made and would make 1,000 times over to
Yeah,
make
sure.
sure that everything's taken care of. So the shop is temporarily closed. I have everything moved back in the garage, and all the lasers are hooked up, and I've done some jobs, and I don't know, kind of I feel like just to kind of maybe like reinforce the fact that I made the right decision. Since then, I've made some really, really solid connections. One is a guy that's deeply connected with the school district here and runs a lot of like the after school activities and sports
Oh,
and
look.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And another one is a lady that she runs some like downtown stuff, and then she's already networked out and has gotten me when I was in chat last week talking about the Fiesta drink tokens, she's the one that kind of hooked me up with that by word of
Nice.
mouth. And so it's like there are some big things happening already business wise to kind of like, I don't know, I think just kind of shows me like, okay, I made a really good choice, and it was something I didn't want to do, but something I had to do, and that's already starting to kind of come
The
to
nice
fruition.
thing though is that you have the flexibility and the intellectual ability to actually go from one to the other, because there's some people who go into a shop, putting that all together, doing all that, but then bringing it back into it. Like I think that's what Kyle's doing right now too, is like putting together your home shop that's effective and can churn out those orders where you got like 3,000 tokens and you can still do everything that you need to do. It's pretty fucking dope, dude. Nice job.
Is that the plan? Are you going to build out your space at home?
For now, I'd realistically, I would say the next couple of years, I'm going to probably spend in the garage still, focusing on stuff at home, doing the work that I'm able to from here, and then getting probably, hopefully, within the next 2 or 3 years back into a building. And
you did get like a really, I know you got like a good deal on it, but you got a very like public facing space, and you could probably get something more private down the road when you're ready and still pull the kind of contracts you've been doing. Cause it's not like you were really relying on foot traffic, like I get that that's part of the appeal, but I feel like you didn't talk about it a lot. So I can only assume that you weren't like brimming with foot traffic work. It's like jobs
really,
you went out and got. So like save the money, right? Get something a little more like industrial, like our space that we have, and pay way less, and that would relieve a ton of the stress while still giving you some of the space. But I get where you're coming from too, because it's a big difference working from it. When Miranda had Coraline, I moved the whole shop home. I'm sure you guys remember.
Yeah.
And I just like worked from home the whole time she was a little baby.
That's when
because
Jimmy almost crushed you with the laser. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah. Where's Kyle? That's where that quote is from. But I get it. Even just the commute, even if it was free, like just driving back and forth and physically not being there and not being available can be really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping the next few years we'll probably be ready again. Hopefully, if everything turns out the way it should. So, we'll just play it by ear and keep adapting and overcoming, and make sure that I'm utilizing the connections that I've recently made and maximizing, off of that. So get the name out there and earn the business, and it'll be easy.
Are you going to have people drop stuff off to you, or are you going to have them mail stuff to you? Are you going to get a PO box? Have you thought about that?
I will have people drop off stuff to me, but I've done a lot of picking up,
Yeah.
I had a lady last minute that wanted she had this book in that had like a lion, and it was for the Lions Club, and she wanted some work done and a plaque made and stuff. So I just ran to her house and picked everything up, and she was comfortable with that. And, if it comes down to it, I'm comfortable having people stop by the house if, they're vetted. But
yeah, sure.
Yeah, just having random strangers show up to my house was kind of one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have a shop. So we'll walk that line.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going like the PO box route too. It's pretty inexpensive, and you can get pretty big ones. I mean, inexpensive compared to like rent, right? Like a lease.
Yeah, it's like $120 a year or something.
And then you can just like swing by and pick up work or whatever when you have to do that. That way you're not sharing that as much. When I was in a garage, it wasn't my garage, it was my parents' garage. So I was like, fuck them. If I have serial killers come over and scope the place out, I won't, that's not my house. But it's different when it's your own home for sure. So
Yeah, see, one of the things that like they're still coming to your house, but my thing is, I've got the door that you can see right there, right? And my thing is like you come into the garage, you can come around the front, and that's it. It's just I'm not allowed to have a sign in my HOA or all that stuff. But like literally, if I could, I would just hang a sign right outside the door so people could just walk up. You make a pathway. The other thing is I've got a little box there. Like I think I just got at Sam's Club. You know, it's just like a plastic tub box for like Amazon stuff. And our whole thing is like I've left it in there. If people want to pay me cash, they can leave it in there. There's like a little envelope thing, and you can pop it in there. So if I'm here or not, your stuff's in there. Come get it today.
Yeah, you just invite whoever. I forgot. I'm like sitting here looking at you. You just invite whoever the fuck over to your house anytime.
We've had people from
Florida,
like,
nonetheless.
people from the LMA have been like
Florida.
in Tampa to visit their
I know.
family, and they're just like, "Hey,
Matt's like, hey,
come
come
on."
drop it off, and then there's like a knock at the door, and it's an alligator.
Literally,
Yeah.
like a sandhill cranes, just like, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay, like when you take that back, that's kind of racist, and it's like, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll still make the cup, and it's you just do your thing. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot, dude. That's a lot to have on your plate for sure. But I'm glad that you had time to come and hang out with us for a little bit today because we missed you, man.
Yeah, I miss you guys too. And I mean, speaking of Amazon, the reason that I haven't been here on Tuesday nights is because Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays I've been picking up some work doing deliveries for them just to keep the bills paid and
yeah, sure.
Hopefully trying to save up for another laser. So to supplement all that, that's been my kind of, I've been out on the road a lot, and when I'm like, hey, I had a flat tire, that was wise because I put a couple 100 miles on a day. So
yeah,
that all. God.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, that's
Anthony's like, it's no big deal. Just working myself to death, but I'm fine. I'm the man of the house. He's got it on lock.
Had a tire blow. I ripped off my leg skin, made a tire from it, slapped it onto the car.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
His but a flesh wound.
This leg, pure titanium now.
Well, people that I can actually harass because I know them better. Kyle, have you moved yet?
Yes and no.
It's good to actually see you though, dude.
Question.
Did you? I know his camera's on today. Isn't that wild?
My camera's on today because I have a camera set up today.
I was surprised when I got into the chat that all four of us were like here, and all four of us had our cameras on.
Yeah.
But I think subliminally, like Kyle's cam being on was the biggest shock, despite you being back, Anthony. I think the fact that Kyle was there really added the pepper to the.
Anthony has grown a full beard and mustache. He's like speaking with an accent. He's like, "Hello, my friends, I am back from my world travels." And
oh, there it is.
And then Kyle's like, "I got my camera turned on."
So the reason why I haven't been using the camera, one, I've been a little burned out, but number two is I've actually had the camera set up at the other house because I've been filming what I've been doing over there.
Oh, the breakdown.
Yep. Exciting.
Anthony, why don't you do a breakdown with everything going on?
Yeah, Anthony.
God.
Did you build that channel? Did you decide on like which facet? Because I know you like had a ton of different facets, so to speak, of moving and setting up a new shop, and there were too many for you to do an appropriate focus on all of them, and you wanted some help deciding from the audience like which ones they wanted you to focus on while like collecting footage and stuff. Did you get any of that feedback, or did you just pick some relevant things? Or
so some of it's just the house needs stuff done to it, so I've been doing that too. But
yeah,
in terms of the laser setup, there are things that are non-negotiables for me that I'm just taking care of. So like getting mini splits installed for one, I've been pursuing that through a couple different routes, getting quotes, getting feedback from different contractors, trying to chase contractors because that's a thing now is either they're so busy that they can't call you back or just don't have the capacity to call you back if they're a small business.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. But one thing that I can tell you in the last 4 years is prices have changed a lot on stuff like that. So some of it's justified and some of it isn't, and some of it's just market condition stuff. But is what it is.
It's because we're winning more.
For what?
We're winning more.
Did you ask anybody on the LMA, like, or anything like that? Did we do anything like that? Do I need to organize that? Because I'm curious. I'm curious if there's like topics.
No, I haven't. I'm working on compiling a list of things I'm considering.
Yeah.
And then opening it up to feedback on those or going a different route. Mm-hmm. And it's like a, hey, help me decide and or change my mind kind of thing. Show me what you would do or what you would want to see. And if it's if I can justify it or if it's just a better option, then I'll do that.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that a lot. We've never really had this opportunity, especially in like a home environment, to document this kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
What's up with you, Matt?
Not much, dude. I actually have this week off again. The job that I am currently at, because I am also a teacher from home, like Anthony. Now Anthony's a teacher for me, doing multiple jobs. We basically got the week off. I got a couple of jobs that I turned in. I mean, I don't have anything to show really. But basically it was the same thing. It was like kind of some birthday presents, some like anniversary gifts people had, some glasses and some cups and stuff like that. But honestly, it's been pretty chill. I think everybody's kind of going on summer break everywhere around here. So it's been pretty slow. There is, what's really cool though, is in our town, we have that Friday, every month or whatever, like the last Friday event.
Yeah.
And for the kids, they just started doing a thing for like the summertime for 3 months of the year. They're going to allow kids to set up a tent for like $15. So now, so I'm actually working with the kids. So using the lasers, because they were like, I want to make whatever. I think they were wanting to make like some crazy stuff. I'm like, yeah, we can't make anything like that. I was like, what can we make with wood and like plastic and all that kind of stuff? So each kid is going to be making like I did the exact same thing I would do with like that we've talked about here many times. So like, okay, here's the machines that we have. Here's the materials that we have. What are some things that can work? And I like with each kid, I said, what do you like? What's your favorite thing? And so Cade was like, Minecraft. And I was like, okay, cool. Evelyn was like, books. Okay, nerd. Yeah. And then Levi was like Legos. So we thought about, I said, well, so what are some of the things that we've made with our laser for the house here that we could make that you think people would like? Because like they always have problems. And just like Anthony, I think we've just made shit for our kids because it's like they need that, you do it. So with Levi, we made a really cool Lego stand from that boxes.py website that Kyle brought us ages ago. Yeah. And we made, so Levi's going to make Levi's Lego mini stands or something like that. Like the little dudes, like dudes and dudettes who are like, so we're going to make little, steps for those guys where everybody can have their things. And we're going to laser engrave some cool stuff on the wood using the CO2.
So they're just like display stands.
Yeah, for the minis. So like the whole thing is like if you're a parent, and because I told the kids, I'm like, you have to come up with something that solves a problem. You guys are always like, where's my minis? Let's fucking find the minis, okay? So now you can display them. They'll look cool, and we can put some cool stuff on there that is Lego adjacent, but we would never do anything that would take away from another brand.
No.
So anyways, and then the next thing is Evelyn likes books. So we said bookmarkers, or was it bookmarks with some like Johnson Plastics Plus plastics. And then we also are doing like bookends, where you can like the little snap together bookends. Again, for wizard themed things, we'll be doing some wizard themed items.
Right.
And then because that's the Fridays like focus is like wizard events. And then for Cade, who likes Minecraft, we will make some things that are not Minecraft. We would never take IP from Minecraft. We'd never do that. So we're going to make some.
That would be crazy.
Right. So instead of creepers, we might make peepers or something. I don't know. But anyways, that probably sounds terrible. But anyways, yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing
When
it.
you said peepers, I was thinking like marshmallow peeps, but
Yeah,
like
just
that
terrifying
explode.
peepers.
Yeah.
So anyways, like he wants to make the Steve's Lava Chicken sign. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure we can do exactly that, but we could put the kids' different names on there and do that kind of thing.
Dave's Lava Chicken, Molly's
you
Lava
could put
Chicken.
Alex's Lava Chicken, Kyle's Lava. We can put a kid's
Yeah.
name on there. And so, anyways, like the whole thing is just making cool things that go on their zipper with the Johnson Plastics Plus white and red.
Some fucking little kid named Steve is gonna walk up and be like, "Oh, they don't have my name."
And then we'll have the laser there, and I'll fucking make it. So, anyways, so that's the goal, is to do something cool like that. But the good news is the kids will all be there. They're each gonna have like we literally have it drawn out on a piece of paper inside. I should have brought it. But it's like Cade's like, here's my part of the booth, and they're all really excited about it.
This is really
My goal is to make
magma foul, dude. That's good.
Alex's magma foul.
It's funny.
My thought is, it costs $15 instead of the normal like $50 or $60 to rent the tent.
Literally nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, my goal is to just make $15 because, yeah. So we'll see how it goes, but they're really excited. I'm using all the scraps that I have. Like I literally have piles of scrap that I've just been saving. It's kind of like when you're a dad or even just a person who's a fixer person. You know how like you have that one piece of wood that's just been sitting in your shop that's 6 inches long, 3 1/4 on this end, but 2 7/8 on this end, and you're like, your wife's like, why do you keep that shit around? And you're like, because one day we're gonna need it. And that's it.
This is your shit. I need to come up with a reason to use this.
Yeah, so we're gonna make some cool keychains. We're gonna make some stuff, and like it's just gonna be all from scrap. And if we can make $15 out of scrap, and the kids are like, "Oh my god," then hopefully we can get the spirit of entrepreneurialism in there. And if I can have some kids like Bronson, awesome, right?
Yeah,
a kid who's making like $70,000 worth of gear for college. Yes, please. So, anyways. So that's really what we've been working on. We spent the past 3 days developing products.
Nice. That's sick. Product development. I love it.
Yeah, and then pricing too, because we got to make some examples and then literally go, how much would you pay for this? Because Evelyn is like, listen, if they don't want to pay 10, we could take 5. I mean, I'd give it to them for 2. And I'm like, we're not there to give things away.
Yeah. Going the wrong way.
Negotiating skills.
Yeah, she's literally just like, I will give you $2. Daddy, I gave him $10.
You need to teach her that when she says 10 and they say 5, she says 15.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm just gonna slap them.
Just go up. Yeah.
Just deadpan.
Yeah, you just take the product.
12? Okay, yeah. We'll take 12. That's fine.
Did you say that?
Nope. That offer expired. Now it's 20.
Yeah. So anyways, that's it. So that's what we're working on. And I think it'll be fun. So that's the goal.
Yeah,
our goal is to have that.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I think that's going to be at the end of July, like July 27th or something like that.
Nice.
So
did anybody appreciate my thumbnail today? Because I thought it was really funny.
Sharks with lasers.
Laser shark.
I think I got a chance to see it.
It's Baby Shark, bro.
It is him. It's him infringing IP.
It's infant.
The thing that I said I would never do.
Technical name for shark.
It is an infant shark holding a directed energy weapon.
Nice.
Resin said she laughed very hard at it.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
All I wanted were freaking sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads.
Oh, look at this. Look at Bronson. I actually just got a hold of the people to get put on the college's vendor list. So working on all of that, but I got to get business insurance.
Bro,
that's only like $60 a month.
I was going to say, like, for the money you're making, you could just be like peasant cash. Here you go.
That's a cell phone bill.
That shit sounds so hard. I've never wanted to do that.
It's just a phone call, man. Hey, here's what I do. Here's my stuff. And then the hardest part is if you haven't been keeping track of your assets and your material, like all your stuff, that is the most annoying part, is making an accurate list of assets.
Why does the school district need to know my list of assets?
The school district doesn't. Your insurance does.
Yeah, the school district.
No, I have
like
business
$1 million.
insurance. I'm talking about dealing with the school, I'm not talking about.
Oh, because the college vendors list doesn't do business with people who don't have insurance.
Yeah, I know. I get that. I'm not
well,
saying.
Then what are you saying? What are you saying?
I'm not saying the insurance is the part that sounds difficult. I have like 8 different insurances. I'm talking about
Your mom has insurance.
interfacing with the educational bureaucrocy.
Your mom
This sounds like a bitch when I could. Fuck you, dude. You're so stupid. You're a dumbass.
You just took it like. Anyways, Johnson Plastics Plus.
You're fired. Oh wait,
My Thursday nights have been so boring.
It's the best Thursday night I've had in 2 months.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. What is happening?
I don't know. All right, let's answer some questions. That's enough bullshitting.
All right.
Waste of time for these people. Show up to our show.
So Laura wanted to know at the beginning of the show what the topic was for tonight, or if we were free flowing.
Oh, no, honey. No.
No.
No topic. No.
Just a little bit of everything, you know?
Yeah.
Cuban wants to know, Bronson, who's going to LBX?
Not me.
I bought tickets. I was gonna go, and then all this change happened, and I just don't have the
Can
time
you take
right
your
now.
child and make it an educational event?
Well, I mean, school's over now, but now it's, you know,
Burn the
on
house
vacation.
down, collect the insurance. Alex has 8 of them, and then you go.
Laura was asking about my drink too, really quick. It's Spindrift, which is
that
half tea, half lemon water, but it is as close to sparkling water as you can get, and it is 5 calories with 0 grams of sugar, so better than Coke. Also, the sodium is like really nasty in Coke too, which this has 0 milligrams of sodium. So
I've
I'll
actually cut out
take it.
caffeine as well.
this has caffeine in it. I didn't say anything about cutting out caffeine. How's the Polar, Kyle? Is it good?
Pretty good, yeah. It's got like a nice level of carbonation, and the raspberry lime is really nice.
Nice. Sick.
it's a nice, affordable
And there's
alternative
no
to
sugar.
LaCroix.
Oh, the
And
LaCroix.
it's way cheaper per can too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Over the Spindrift. Yeah,
Way cheaper.
probably.
And the
Yeah.
LaCroix.
I'm picky though. I found something I like, and it's like that Coke addiction was real. But we're not here to talk about Coke addiction.
Coke
here
addiction is real.
By the way, for anybody who's listening and might be
Hence no
sponsoring the
LBS.
podcast without watching it, we are talking about the soda, Coca-Cola.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were talking.
Alexander.
I thought you were gonna clarify that we were talking about the drug. Which would
Alex, put that bump away. What are you doing?
All right. Real questions. Come on, let's go. What do we got?
48 grams. Laura's talking about 48.
Not a question. Don't forget to smash the like button, guys.
Oh, yeah.
If you came here for education today, you're just shit out of luck. So
Crippling
get
Coke
nothing.
addiction.
I tamed my perm.
Congrats, Kyle.
No, it's that like sweaty Ace Ventura hair going on.
It's
Just
hot.
is what it is.
Jim
It's
Carrey's
hot, and
Yeah,
I'm doing
10 out of 10.
housework. You know,
Would
It's
it
catching
also,
up.
be, would it also
I
be
was-
moist?
I was calling you attractive, but it is also hot.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
He's so stupid.
Speaking of
No, I'm
LBX
stupid.
and Viper, any word on EasyCAD 3 support? Rumors, rumors of rumors, shreds of
No,
hope,
no shreds
outright
of hope.
lies, amusing memes.
I could draft some memes, but there's no hope. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. Come on, don't give the
For
man false
EasyCAD
hope.
3, it's probably hopeless, but 3D support, maybe not entirely. It depends.
Yeah.
Because the more I look at the Excel laser and they're claiming full light burn support, the more possibility there is, because that is functionally a 3D laser.
There is no BJJCZ card inside of that machine.
I'm not saying there is. I'm saying
Well,
3D
that's
support, not
we-
EasyCAD 3.
The whole delay on the EasyCAD 3 support in the beginning anyway was because of the encryption.
Yeah.
So they're not going to tackle that as part
No.
of working with Excel laser.
But 3D support for light burn through a different card.
I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's Jason's problem. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I do not think that understanding 3D lasers and programming that is the
No, it's
thing that he's
controller
avoiding.
access
Yeah,
and
so
market viability. I know,
yeah.
but I'm saying if there are other controllers on the market that people can swap in, it's a
Oh, sure.
possibility.
What's the one I have again? I keep forgetting. I can never remember
Uh,
because I don't use it.
it'll come to me later. I don't know.
All right. Let me know when you remember because now it's going to bother me.
Uh,
What controller I have.
why don't you pop a question up and I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll go find one. You guys want to do LMA or YouTube?
LMA.
Bam. This one's from Brandon Reif, a member over at the LMA. If you guys want to support the channel and you haven't already, go sign up for it. It's the Laser Master Academy, the #1 way to support the channel. Find out more at masters.lasereverything.net. Brandon wants to know, anyone have the One Laser XRF metal tube? What are your thoughts? Have you guys ever heard of that? The XRF metal tube?
Yeah, it's similar to the Bolt. So One Laser is like that company that a bunch of people keep saying is like made by somebody from Thunder or something.
Okay.
So it's very similar in terms of spec out to the Bolt. It's a different size. It has a basement attachment, kind of like the Excel Laser does. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge of a couple different machines to make its own thing. My feelings on that, because it does have an RF tube in it, from my understanding. Engraving, it's probably great. Engraving flat stuff, I'm sure it's going to be great. I have an inherent dislike to stuff that you have to buy a basement separately to make it functional. Otherwise, you're stuck with like an incredibly small engraving area in terms of Z height.
What is a basement? Why do you keep saying basement? What does that mean?
You know the Excel Laser?
Yes.
You know how they sell the basement separately?
The basement?
They have a
like the lowest floor of a house. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. I have no idea what a basement is.
Oh my God.
We didn't talk about it on that 3-hour live stream. I have zero clue what
it's like the stand you put it on to get the additional Z height.
Oh, that's it? Okay. Why couldn't you say that? Thank you, Anthony.
I was pretty sure I did.
Alex finds out new words every day.
It's the Z-axis base.
Calendar.
No one's ever called it a basement before. I was just saying basement like we say basement.
Not only does it have the basement, it has the attic as well. There's an addition to the side and some nice bay windows for
What are they redoing the bathroom? Can I piss in it? Oh my God. Fuck.
He's so stupid. Kyle has like the best answers, and Alex is just like, hold up, I don't know where it's good.
This is a basement right here.
Yeah, I see that.
This is the laser.
Yep.
This is the add-on portion that is an extra $500 or something.
Yeah, the motorized seabed.
Yes. So a basement.
Nope. Who calls it a basement? I just don't understand where this works.
Only people up north. In Florida, we don't have basements. So
bullshit.
Alex is up north. Anyway, so the One Laser XRF or whatever the model is has one of these as well. Unlike this, I don't believe the head moves like this. So it looks like you have like an inch of Z height. So like you can slide a piece of plywood in there and cut it. This is a bad example because again, this is the Excel Laser. But ultimately it's they also don't advertise the Z height on their website, or at least they didn't. So that was my biggest problem with the One Laser offering that they were asking about. Now, does that mean if they start advertising that information openly that I'm going to hate it? No, not necessarily. But it bothers me that you have no idea what the machine is capable of based off of the spec sheet and the advertising material. And then you feel like you're obligated to buy this add-on and still have no idea what it offers. Because even that doesn't offer you a Z height.
So One Laser is not an OEM. They're not manufacturing the RF source. They're a machine builder.
They are, yeah. So they're just like.
I just want to make sure I understood the question, because I'm not familiar with One Laser, and he was saying the One Laser XRF, like RF tube, but that he's not talking about the tube. He's just talking about the model that comes with that. Right.
Right.
Okay.
So,
I'm just making sure we're on the same page.
Yes. So ultimately, here's the thing, right? So there are a lot of laser vendors, right? You have Cloud Ray, you have Aeon, you have Thunder. I mean, there's dozens of laser manufacturers. So I'm not going to ramble them all off, but they don't all make all of the original equipment. They don't all make their enclosures. A lot of that stuff comes from different factories in China, and those get shipped to assemblers who are well versed in getting the basic stuff sorted out. And then from there, for example, like Aeon has said multiple times that they get the machines in from the manufacturer in China, and they go through it with a fine-tooth comb. They do the upgrades that are necessary. Everyone has been touched internally by someone at Aeon and fine-tuned before it gets shipped out. And Thunder, I don't think, has publicly acknowledged that information, but I'm 90% sure that they probably do the same thing, just like every other manufacturer I've talked to who has confirmed that. Because it's unrealistic to stamp your own sheet metal and build your own laser source and do all the wiring from scratch and whatever else. A lot of manufacturers will basically get that done from someone who is well versed in it, and then do the final assembly if they need to, or the upgrades. So my problem comes in with, there's just a lot of missing information that I wish was answered. And so, like, there's a big old question mark above the machine's head that he's asking about, because it's like buying something off of a crowdfunding site, not knowing what you're going to get, and that's the level of information they're still giving out. But I don't know. And to be clear, I'm talking about One Laser, not Excel Laser.
Right.
But I just use them as an example of a laser basement.
Yeah, what's so funny, Matt? Are you reading chat? I'm like trying to pay attention to what Kyle's fucking saying.
Matt
You're giggling like an 8-year-old girl.
Matt is suffering between constipation and diarrhea.
I mean, always. I think we all are.
Is that the shake you do when you have to poop? You're like,
oh no. That's much more forceful. It was great because Kyle's been talking about basements and internal touching.
Oh,
it's like, this is just killing me. And then I looked over at Anthony because, like, I was literally like taking notes about something. Kyle mentioned internal touching.
He said every one of them is touched internally, and it just triggered me.
And then he's like, "But they don't admit to that anymore." And I'm just like, "What?" Just like, what? And I looked over at Anthony because I'm like, I can't be the only one. You're over there just like,
Literally none of that registered with me. I was just trying to understand what the fuck.
Just trying to figure out the whole atrium conversation that happened, and Anthony's just going.
I was fighting it, and then I'd look at Matt, and I'd lose a little bit. So I just had to shut the camera off for a minute and just.
Oh my god!
Also, Miranda's on drugs. Chat, don't listen to her. I'm not in a basement right now. I'm in our living room, which is 8 feet above the ground in a split level. So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. All right, we have a question in chat.
That was a very good answer, by the way.
That was a great answer.
By the way,
Thank
Laura
you, Kyle,
added
for being the only professional.
Laura added to what you said to back up what you were saying too, Kyle. She said, go back up a little bit. Where'd she say it? They no longer change the wiring.
But they don't.
Yeah, so I mean, that's from vendor to vendor. What gets changed from base assembly to like getting upgraded could change based off of where you're getting your base assembly from. Maybe one factory has a crap wiring job more often than not, and the other one has better. So
90% of the difference is going to be with like the support you get and like the after purchase care and that kind of shit.
Well, base assembly is fairly important too, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I think what people are going to notice.
Well, compare like the Aeon you have versus your OhmTech that you got. How much of a struggle did you have on the OhmTech to get started versus the Aeon to get a quality product?
I mean, that's true. They're also different, like chassis from
but
the
the level of fine tuning before it left final shipping to you is vastly different.
One is more prepared for it's the end user interface is kind of the difference. Like one is more prepared for somebody who's just like turnkey, and one is more like
that's what I was
give me the
say.
hammer.
Which one is the turnkey machine?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So while this is kind of a side tangent, it is relevant, but the primary thing is like they're not the ones doing full assembly, at least not from start to finish. They're not stamping their own machine casings and form fitting an enclosure and whatever, right? Yeah. They're probably confirming what they want for a machine enclosure based off of what's available and what they can get tooled and getting it run off. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you make an efficient product without spending boatloads of money on tooling. And that's probably part of what makes their product anywhere near a competitive price, because I don't know if anybody's looked at tooling costs on anything stamped, but it's expensive. Incredibly expensive. So the point of the matter is just whether they have a good product or not, I don't know, because they're a brand new company. As I don't know anybody personally who's owned one. So
what was the I don't want to drag this on and on because we have other questions, but what was the connection to Thunder at the beginning? I think that's the only part I missed. What about Thunder?
There's an ongoing rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that there's some connection to either the person running it or the people who assemble it are the same as Thunder Laser. And I don't know if it's true because I haven't found a source for confirming it.
Yeah.
I think it's just information that's being passed along in comments. And it did get commented in LMA as part of a response to that question from somebody else. So it's not something that's coming from me, but it's something I've heard repeatedly. At the end of the day, we don't know what their history is going to look like in 2 years. So even if they offer like a 3 or 4 year warranty, we don't know if they're going to be here that long because they haven't existed that long yet, right? Whereas somebody like Cloud Ray is celebrating, I think, their 9th anniversary right now. OhmTech has been around for at least like a decade or more, if I had to guess. I mean, you got like Marco over in California. He's been in the industry forever. There are companies who are kind of like commonplace in the industry that have a history that we have faith will be around, like Apple, for example, or Microsoft. They're probably not going to go anywhere. Intel, but like somebody making a new processor in their garage or getting something drop shipped from another company, we don't. Whatever, you get my point.
Miranda would like me to specify that we're just entirely speculating and have no idea what we're talking about right now.
Right,
which is true and fair.
Yeah. This is a podcast about spaghetti and lasagna dishes. What are you guys even doing?
Corey Evanstone says, I am a CAD CAM CNC programmer. Do lasers run on G code similar to CNC machines? I'm in the process of purchasing a CNC router and looking at adding a CO2 laser to my equipment too. The ones that aren't DSP or G code, right? But I feel like they're usually DSP, and that's usually the way you want to go. So it would be different. But that's I'm not a CAD programmer, so take that with a grain of salt. But I'm fairly certain that they are distinct controller technologies. You can't like a lot of diodes run G code,
Yeah,
the vast majority of diode lasers run G-code. So if that's something you're super familiar with and you want to stick with that, maybe look at higher power, higher end diodes. But if you know what DSP controllers are and how to manipulate them, then that may still interest you. But the vast majority of CO2 machines are diode, or are DSP. And I believe that's for speed. If I'm not mistaken, I think that DSP controllers are faster and better at things that G-code can take a while to kind of compile on the spot. So I'm not an expert in that. That is like one step beyond my knowledge base, but that is the best answer I have.
I can tell you off the bat, one of the big differences for me coming from playing with diodes and CO2 lasers is G-code control, like basic G-code controllers. You don't get support for min and max speed different, like the difference between min and max speed, where that would be useful on a CO2 laser because it's a much higher power laser. When you're cutting through something, you're going to char the hell out of it as you slow down to make a corner cut.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know how that's handled on a CNC because I've spent very little time on that type of a platform. But that's part of the reason why there are a significant more, I wouldn't say viability, but there's more availability in diode conversion kits for CNC machines than there are CO2 lasers. Also, standing up a CO2 tube on a CNC gantry is pretty unideal, which means you need mirrors, and that's not often something you want to mess with on a CNC gantry because it tends to
I didn't know if he was like saying like he wanted to add a literal diode module to his CNC setup, or if he was just thinking about adding a laser to like his shop and wanted him to be. So I didn't know like which way he was going with that. If you are just getting a completely separate machine, then it matters less, but you still might want to stick with the same controller tech. If you're literally putting it on a CNC, your only option is diode. That would be insane to do it with because you're talking about mirrors, Kyle. I didn't even consider that because that's just how outlandish and bizarre that would be to even try to attempt, not to mention dangerous. So yeah, if that's the case, if you're literally retrofitting it onto an existing CNC setup, then CO2 is like a non-starter. Yeah. Personally, for me.
Smoke show, yeah, we don't have that control in Lightburn at least, and the basic G-code lasers, you won't see that. Most fiber cutters too, I would argue, are either on Sipe cutter or DSP controller too because of the gas control.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single fiber cutter on G-code. It doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means they lack a lot of added bells.
I think G-code controllers might be really popular in like custom setups for that stuff, but not in like a mass-produced variety of this type of equipment. I don't think it makes as much sense.
Yeah.
So, but again, that's the extent of my knowledge on that. So anything else that I say is just going to be me bullshitting. So I'm going to move this along. Let's see. Boom. Stan Smith. This is an LMA question. Again, masters.lasereverything.net. Guys, go support the channel. Diode parameter library. That's all it says. I feel like the second we got the UV library up, everybody was like, great, where's the diode one? The diode one's going to be a nightmare. A nightmarish, just horrible. I don't know if that will ever even make sense to do like a starter library for diode lasers.
One for like every single different laser.
I know.
On top of that, the modules that go into
every laser and every module would need its own library. And half of the diode laser companies just keep their own databases on their website. If you haven't looked, go look on your manufacturer's website because a ton of them have that resource already available to you. Hell, if you get Nextool, you can just like load the settings in from their database in XCS. You don't even need to go look for them. You can literally just load them in from Xtool Creative Suite. And that's going to be way better than anything that we're going to spend months and months and months compiling. I
know Atom Stack and Ortur also have a public one on their site. Do me a favor, though. Anytime you see vinyl, just laugh at it and don't use it.
Yeah, cross-reference the settings they give you with the material safety database might be a good idea, because they're not super good about that, but they do like have all those settings. And in addition to that, I think, you know, in the absence of any kind of like starter library you would get for signing up for the LMA for something like that, the thing that is more likely to occur would be like a community settings page, which I think is much more feasible to maintain a database on rather than like individual Lightburn settings files that you're loading in. And that can be powered by community submissions rather than, you know, 2 employees and 2 suckers that waste their free time helping out with this stuff. So that's
I have
my answer for that. Yeah, please go for it.
Here's the Ortur website. Warning for you guys watching. This is going to be a bright screen. This is the Ortur website, and this is their material like settings, right? You notice they have a different column for every one of their modules that they offer right now. So, and you notice how wildly different the settings are from one to the next sometimes, particularly from this one to this one to this one. So it's not just a speed differential, it's a power differential, and it has a lot to do with dot size as well.
Yep.
So there's a lot of variables that come in that aren't necessarily going to translate well with a basic starter list like you can do with fiber.
All of that really should have another like subset of groups based on the machine you're putting that module on, because those machines move at different speeds and have different maxes. Yep. So, and different work areas. Something like the All-Ferro Laser 1, you probably couldn't even get up to the same max speed that you can get onto like the Laser Master 3, because you have a quarter of the distance, the travel distance to accelerate. So there's a lot of differences between diodes, if we haven't sold that point already. And that would be hellish. It would actually be hellish to put that together. So
that would be like worlds harder than even what we did with the UV.
Chat wants to know if your retinas are okay after blinding yourself with that page, Kyle.
No.
Okay. Thank you for being straightforward about it. Let's see. Let's pull up another one. Let's keep going. I've had these forever, so I'm so glad that we finally have the chance to get through to them. I'm doing LMA first, guys, and then we'll switch over to YouTube if we have time. Hero X Girio. I have no idea how to say that. Working on purchasing my first fiber laser. The plan is to get a 100-watt MOBA M7. What would be the perfect bundle to purchase with the laser? Initially, I'm looking for all lenses, 800 millimeter tower, rotary. What else would there be as a first-time buyer, or that a first-time buyer should be looking for on a needs or wants list?
There is actually a great short that you can watch where we've already answered this question.
Is there? Is it the one where we say don't get all the lenses?
Yeah, and Kyle said you should get 3. So for people who haven't seen that short, but it's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Kyle basically had a good point, which is, you know, you can get the 100, you can get the rotary, you can do all that stuff, get the right machine for you and what you're working on. That was basically like the gist of it. And then Kyle said, I think have the 1, the 2, and the 3, basically, like have those are really good, especially for the 100 watt, because with a 100, you can blast stuff to smithereens. 200 gives you a good in the middle, like reference point for like every day. And then 300 gives you like that ample workspace and lets you play with it.
If your wattage allows that.
And focal range and all that.
Right. Yeah. But that also is making sure that you got the big tall tower too, because honestly, with the 100, you've got a lot more play that you can go do more with, right? So
I'd say I would be even more flexible with it. I'd say like 70 or 110
Yeah.
150 or 175,
The range.
220 or 300, depending on, if you have a 20-watt laser, don't buy a 300 millimeter.
That is a really good short fuse, though.
I don't know if I would ever use a 70 on my 100-watt. It's just
Really?
so much sparks so close. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so cool. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Your
Especially
laser
like
starts
titanium.
melting.
I have a 50 I would throw on there. I'll ship it to you. You can destroy it.
50.
Okay.
John Gambrell from the LMA. Man, I'm in a jam here. I have a 10-watt UV laser using a JCZ control card. It was working great until my desktop quit. I replaced the desktop, loaded Lightburn, and I can't get my computer to see the card. Or Lightburn to pick it up either, for that matter. I have a live show next Saturday and need to get back up and running. All of these, by the way, guys, these are from a couple weeks ago. I know Kyle already went through and answered all these questions on the actual LMA, so this isn't really time sensitive anymore. But I thought it was an interesting question, and Kyle really likes troubleshooting cards, I guess. So
yeah. Order of operations, right?
You've already figured this out, right, Kyle?
Yes, we did. So order of operations, the way we solved it is we determined if there was a USB communications problem. So you double check your driver. That's number one, especially with a new computer. That's almost always the problem. Problem number two is communication. Is it registering that it's connected at all? Is it showing up in device manager? If it's not, then you need to work your way back. Is it a problem with the cable? Did something happen with the computer that also happened to the laser? Was it electrical related? Did you have a power outage or a surge? That they would have experienced at the same time. So driver, USB communications, maybe have a spare cable on hand and double check and swap it. You can bypass the USB extension that goes from the controller card to the back of the laser case. That is a big one that a lot of people miss.
Yep.
And if none of that is working, when you open up the enclosure and turn on the laser, is there any lights showing up on the control card? And usually by that point, it's a pretty telltale yes or no. Is the laser powering on when you hit the power buttons? So do you hear the source spin up? Do you hear any fans inside the enclosure? Because if you don't hear any of that happening, there is a good chance that you have a power problem for the laser itself, and you need to
have a bad relay, bad connection somewhere that needs to be reseated. There's a lot of things. It kind of spirals out of control at that point. But if you want more information about that, go watch our video we did a long time ago about power supply testing, because I tear an entire fiber laser apart and put it back together, and you get to see all the parts and how everything's connected. So it's a pretty good episode for that.
So what was it?
Yeah, what do you recall? How that resolved?
I believe the control card got nuked because of a power surge.
Oh,
so they replaced the control card. He was back up and running.
You know what got me that you mentioned that we almost never talk about on the show was the USB connection that goes from the outside panel to the controller. That went on my OhmTech, and it took me a long time to figure it out. And so now I just have a long regular USB cable running directly from the card, running out. The side panel isn't even on that machine anymore. It just flops out the side of the OhmTech now, because that little patch cable just did not hold up. So yeah, that's a good one to check for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Another one that happens a lot is when you swap out from one computer to the next, especially on a laser that gets a lot of movement. If you bring it to shows or something, the end of the patch cable that you were saying sees a lot of wear, and those aren't really meant for a lot of plug and unplug cycles and being bent and moved around and stuff poked into it. The end of that cable can actually wear loose enough where it doesn't make good contact anymore. So that's a good point.
Yep. That's a good one. All right, last one. We didn't make it to YouTube this week, but maybe next week. Nate Graham, does anyone have a particular style of setting up their website, offering custom services and their own products that seems most appealing to customers? I'm trying to ensure I get my website right. Matt, Anthony, you guys have any website input?
Well, neighbor, I think that the best for those of you who don't know, we basically just looked like Wilson from like was it School Time or something. So yeah, I mean, I could talk about it. Anthony, you probably got some experience with this too. First off, I paid Andrew from our Discord staff to make, like, he hosts a great server. He's got a couple servers and things that he does where he hosts pictures and gets people, like, he went in and revamped my Shopify. I actually ended up getting rid of my Shopify though, because I'm going to go to Wix, I think, because Anthony, that's what you use, right? Or were you, or somebody else used Wix?
Alex used Wix.
Long time ago. Yeah, I'm on Square now.
Oh, Square, that's the one. So, like, I literally started setting up my Squarespace because...
Wait, are you using Squarespace or the Square point of sale, like, website thing?
I'm just doing whatever came with, like, the thing that I bought. I don't even know, because... because here's the deal. So what I'm getting at is Shopify was charging...
This is the number one place to get advice for your website.
All right.
Doing great.
So here's my thing. Let me walk you through this here, okay? You guys, Kyle talked about his basement. Let me talk to you about my attic, okay? So basically in Matt's attic here, no, seriously, what happened is Shopify kept going up. The services never really improved for what I need them for, so it kept going up every month, and I'm paying like another $200 a year for what? So like if I was going to list individual products and this and that and the other, that'd be great, but then I also have to pay for the ability to do individualization and customization, all that kind of stuff, and you basically are paying for an add-on. Yeah, thanks, Moksho. Long story short, so what ended up happening is I just didn't really want to pay for it that much anymore, and it really wasn't worth it. And then I looked at Wix and I opened up an account over there to kind of like look around, like not paid for it, but you can get like a free account to kind of test things out. You have said that Square was really good. So I've looked into that because I've already purchased my websites through them. So they actually have websites that just kind of will populate quickly for you.
The reason that I really like the Square point of sale one, and I'll just interject this really quick, is only because we have a physical shop where we already sell products. And so everything from my, roll of existing products in the shop can be sold on the site as well. And it integrates with things like shop pickup, like in-store pickup, or like they can order online and get it shipped to them, but it all keeps track of the stock in one place, since it's also used for the physical retail inside the shop. If you don't have that, then it is pointless and you can probably get something better somewhere else. But that integration, being native and on the same platform, is such a reducer of like overhead headache that I just use it. So that's the one reason we use that. And that's Square point of sale, not Squarespace. Those
and so that was the thing. So that's the POS is what I was talking about. But the thing that happened with Shopify that was really nice is it plugged right into it in QuickBooks. They communicate really easily. So when you're looking at taxes and you're looking at all the different items you have and all that, it worked. But again, it just wasn't worth it for me. Like when I looked at how much I'm paying for the value that I'm getting out of it, and that's really it's the return on investment. So pretty much what Sam said, for my sites, listing products with customization and add to cart, buy button, like just make it really easy for people to connect with you, contact you, and get your have them go from point A. Because what ends up happening is I would still always end up sending invoices because they want to have that conversation, that talk, and also. I had a cup order, and I think I talked about this on the show before. I had a cup order where the guy said, give me 38 of what I ordered last year. And then I made 38 of what he got for me the last year that he bought for me, which was 2 years ago. Yeah. I made 38 items. He showed up to get his stuff, and he's like, oh, that's not what I got last year. Remember, I got whatever. And I said, nope, this is what you have. And I showed him the invoices, and he's like, oh, well, that's okay. And luckily, it was one of those things where the guy is super chill, and on top of that, whatever. But it's just one of those things because he didn't know any better. It happened that way. And that's where having a situation where you can have better communication and they can even look up their own stuff. It's just like Shopify wasn't doing it. So I'm going to head over to the POS and see how that works out.
Yeah, if you guys want to see what that looks like really quick, I don't know the pricing off the top of my head, Laura, because the affiliate program sucks. So I just pay the bill and try to ignore it. But it wasn't that bad. It's not bad enough that I know what it costs.
Yeah.
So, I know Shopify is $40 minimum off the top of my head. And I don't know the price of this. So it wasn't that bad. But here we can see really quick. I'm going to throw this up. Infinite. This is what my front end site looks like for like customer facing stuff, which is pretty cool. And this is all built on their system. So there's like a get in touch page and our work. Lots of really big pictures, guys. Pictures sell engravings. You can see our work. So it had like a very simple, again, clean Instagram kind of lock-in thing. I'm streaming right now, so my connection is not the best.
It's also downloading 800 gigs of games.
Here's not at the moment. Here's what the shop looks like. It's super clean and just minimalist. There's not a lot going on. People can order gift cards, and I have a separate page about delays regarding holiday orders when that is relevant. And then if you want to buy something, so it's out of stock, low stock. So it's actually tracking stuff based on what I'm selling in the store. But if I want to buy something, they can click it and it loads it up really quick. They can enter custom text right here, right away. It's not fancy. There's no fancy GUI. Where do you want the engraving? You want it on the blade and the handle? Great. It'll update the price. And you can enter a font choice based on the sheet, and I just keep an image of the sheet literally right here. If you're looking for something else, request a custom order. Like, I try to keep it like so dead simple that it can't be messed up, and it gets used. So I feel like I'm on to something. It's not the most visually stunning thing in the world, but I feel like it's pretty efficient and it does the job.
And it's really intuitive to set up too, because I set up mine through Square because that's what I was using for like a POS, and I was like, I might as well. And that was before Andrew hooked me up with my website, and I tried doing like a Squarespace trial and setting. It was just way too much for what my mental horsepower could push, and the Square one was like super easy. I got it set up in no time. And like you said, it's not going to be like over the top, but it's going to be adequate, and it's going to be clean and not like cluttered or too busy or anything like that, which can be a put off for a lot of people too. So
and then Resin, what Cheryl said down in chat is smart. It's just shop around, find what you need. Because that's the thing. I went to Square because I remember you had talked about it. Well, you had talked about it, and then Anthony had also said it was easy. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, just something easy and quick, where it basically says, here's how to get a hold of me. And also, if you have information that like you want to drop in here, like I have 12 cups that I've already bought. I need names. Great. Let me know that.
Yep. Contact form, super easy. Nice, big, numerous photos of everything. Like, just plaster the thing with giant photos. That's what people want to see. And that's my advice. But yeah, we're over an hour, boys. We did it. Another week.
I just want to say real quick, I feel like Have Blue captured my voice in my essence the best out of anybody in chat ever. Matt says, it's rectangle something site service. That is literally, if you've ever talked with me, Alex and Kyle worked with me for 1 whole year solid. And that is literally part of the job was Kyle had to teach Alex how to speak Matt.
Rectangle site service.
Is he talking about Square?
No, I'm talking about rectanglesiteservice.com.
Yeah, it was actually Stripe. Only ostomies.com.
Emergencystop.net. If you guys got value out of this one, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content was good. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live. We're here every Tuesday at 9, Anthony.
From our basements.
Not Thursdays. Just so you know. Tuesdays. From our basements. Coming to you live. If you really, really like this one, guys, go check out the Laser Master Academy. A ton of the questions we answered today were from there. I've been trying to integrate more questions from outside sources during the podcast, which I'm really enjoying. I don't know if you guys like it, but I've been really liking it. and I'm going to keep doing that. So I'm going to reload the hopper on LMA questions so we can get more of those onto the show for you as well. But if you'd like to pose those questions, you can go ask your questions at the Laser Master Academy and support the channel while you're doing it. You can find out more over at masters.lasereverything.net or drop your question in a comment on any of our videos. I do kind of mull through those as backup questions as well. We try to answer everybody's YouTube questions, but we don't always get to all of them, especially more complex ones that really require special attention. So if you need some help, the LMA is the way to go. One more time, it's masters.lasereverything.net. We're there to help you out. Kyle has infinite patterns for sale on his Etsy page, which is pretty cool. They're all handmade. They come in mega packs with lots of different options, so you can get them all fairly inexpensively. And he's put a lot of work into them, and they help support Kyle while he's, spending his days helping you guys. So if you're interested in those, make sure you go check them out. Matt, Mr. Business over here, who doesn't know Square from Squarespace.
Rectangle site.
If you want to learn more about rectangle site services, you got the Rectank. Matt offers business coaching now, just like general business coaching. So if you're looking for like how to run your shop, how to price things, how to engage with customers or find new business,
how
that
to
kind of stuff.
internally touch your lasers.
Internally touching your lasers, Matt is absolutely the expert.
We're
You can find
elbow deep.
You can find You can find a link to his booking calendar down in the description as well. Anthony, you still doing Beam It Up? You got tape?
Yeah, the tape. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I just sent out some shipments. Thank you everybody for being patient with the orders. But yeah, we're still live, man. I plan on offering this stuff as long as I still have blood coursing through my veins.
Then that means you can find it right now over at beamituplasertape.com. So make sure you go check that out. And if you haven't already, go sub to Anthony's channel, Beam It Up Laser Works on YouTube. Obviously, he's busy right now, but I suspect we'll see some good things from him in the future. And he's got a lot of content over there now. So just go smash the sub button. It doesn't cost anything. It takes like 2 seconds. I think that's all I've got, guys. Anybody else have anything they want to throw in before we bail?
It was good seeing you.
All right. Well, then that's it. It's good seeing you. It's good seeing chat. It's good seeing the boys. I love you all. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.